are there to compete,
Yep.
and they compete every single night. They're competing every single day when they're at class.
Right.
Uh, so it's never easy. And then, oh, hey, we go home, but we get to play Michigan.
So, funny thing about that series, as was telling you, Mike, before the stream got blown up. Um,
Yeah, way to go, Wes.
um, Part of the deal when ASU were road warriors for the COVID season in the Big Ten was that all of those teams would make return trips to Tempe. So we were kind of surprised last year, um, in their last independent year, that only Minnesota, or as I like to call them, the other maroon and gold team, made the trip to Tempe. This year, again, only one, but at least this year makes a little bit more sense because they had to reconfigure their entire schedule when they joined the NCHC.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if you'd have told me that their only home games to start the season were going to be Michigan, um, before they even one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, uh, they're going to play 10 games, 8 games out of 10 to start the season on the road, I would have been like, no way. But here they are. They're opening up after Michigan, which, by the way, will be my first ever trip to Mullet. I went crazy.
Nice.
I went crazy a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at the odometer on my car and said, "All right, what am I going to do here?" The dealership was sending me all sorts of things. Wasn't exactly the car I wanted that they were trying to send me on, but I went around and whatever. And I spent the money and left the down payment and said, "Screw it, I'm booking a trip to Tempe because it's a 3-day weekend and so forth and so on." So we've got Michigan for 2 days at Mullet and Utah for football on the Friday night.
Nice. I, I, I
So
think I think you'll like I've never been there, but I have a friend that works as a nurse down in Arizona, and uh she went to a Wild game down at Mullet Arena when the
right,
Coyotes were there.
right.
She loved it for how close she was and
Well,
everything. So you should love it.
I'm look. I'm beyond excited. I mean, forget for not just for the game, but to see people I became friends with and never met, and some that I have met. So I'm looking forward to that. And because ESPN switched the Utah football game from Saturday night to Friday night, they're now and Michigan was asked to change the date of from Friday. I would assume either to a Thursday or Sunday, so they wouldn't have to play at the same time, the same day as football. Michigan basically said, you know, we're going to give you the Italian salute.
They're good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, if anybody that knows anything about me, I kept piping into to people that not that they control it. Well, Michigan doesn't want to change the date. Play the damn game at 11:45 p.m. Make it a 2 a.m. Michigan time friggin' start and stick it right up there. You know where. And
Well, as they should.
you didn't want to change the date. We're still playing on November 10th or 11th or whatever the hell it is. We're sorry. We asked you to change it, so we had to accommodate our own athletic schedule. I didn't get listened to. They're starting the hockey game at like 3:30 in the afternoon, um, which is obviously a weird time on a Friday to have a home opener.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of benefits Michigan more than it benefits you guys.
Well, again, they didn't listen to me. I would have said, screw you guys. We're gonna play almost at midnight. We're still starting when we're supposed to start
I
on
mean,
that day.
yeah, I mean that makes it basically a normal game time for Michigan.
Yeah,
Hmm.
It's
yeah.
because you guys are what, or that's what Arizona.
2 hour. Well,
Well, Arizona has that
So
weird
that
thing.
it'll
They
be
don't.
3 hours at that
Yeah,
point.
so,
So
so
it'll
it'll be
be
six
a
thirty
6:30 Michigan time start.
Eastern
Yeah,
start Eastern time zone. So yeah, basically, I mean they probably start their Friday games like we do at 7. So
right.
that
Um, and then of course, if they'd listened to me, they would have played at midnight and then had to come back on the Saturday and play at like 5 o'clock and really just say screw you. Um, Playing at Providence and at Northern back to back after playing Michigan. Uh,
yeah,
I don't know what Northern's going to be this year. I don't think anybody does.
we were talking about that earlier because there are Northern is the team that seems to be the conference favorite at this point between the uh four other teams that we went through. Three, four
And and,
other
and
well,
that's
teams.
with all the guys, and
them
that's with the guys that left.
that well Northern and Anchorage are playing everybody in the NCHC.
So
Really?
so it seems, except for UMD.
Yeah,
They UMD is not playing anyone, but when Grant Patoni left to go to the AHL, because I actually had to look it up. I was like, I knew he was leaving. Where in the hell did he go? Uh, took an AHL head coaching job. Good for him, no
Yeah.
judgment here. But you lost your whole damn team. Who knows? You don't know what's going to go on. And Shayak was at Western Michigan,
Right.
and Wes liked him as an assistant coach, and um it's kind of a red shirt year for the coaching staff, but you're banking on the transfers
Right.
one, then you're trying to get your new recruits in two, you're three, you're trying to see who's going to even stick around to try and get playing time. Three, like the whole thing is a complete disaster.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and I might be a little bit biased because I love the coach. Um, if you made me pick who I think was gonna win the CCHA this year, at least the regular season, because you never know about a conference tournament. St.
Hmm.
Thomas. They were winning last
Oh
year. They had all those guys get hurt.
yeah, no, Saint Thomas is my choice for the CCHA.
Um, so I mean, and like I said, I'll admit it, I'm a big Rico Blasi fanboy. One of the first people, or one of the first times I can remember really getting into watching a college hockey game was when they were in Frozen Force. And despite what the last name says, uh, the other half of my heritage is Italian, so I rooted for the guy that was the Italian coach. So
And the thing with St. Thomas, but like, yeah, they have the backing of all the money, and yes, they're getting a new arena. Um, but you look at their very first game in Division 1 hockey, it was against St. Cloud.
right,
They got pissed on, shit on, absolutely blown out of the arena. It was like 13-2.
something like that. Yeah.
St. Cloud used the next game as just a tune-up game, and it was like 3-1, I think it was. That was 2 years ago.
Yep.
Now they're competing, but they're getting screwed out of the tournament
Mhm.
because they're not there. Like
Listen,
whatever the
all you
whole
need
thing.
all you need to know about what's going on there, and this is off the ice, is what was said when the CCHI decided to accelerate Augustana's membership. Lucia basically said, "Yeah, we want CCHA teams in the CCHA." That wasn't too veiled.
Which is weird because he was a WCHA,
Well,
but
basically, um, and I don't, and I make no apologies for this. The league that stabbed 3 other schools in the back got a taste of their own medicine from St. Thomas, and they were not happy. Okay. Those teams absolutely left Huntsville, Anchorage, and Fairbanks to die. When they wouldn't leave this, when those teams wouldn't leave the WCHA, the other 8 teams said, or the other 7 or whatever team said, you guys won't leave, we'll leave.
Huntsville was dead though.
But if they had a league to come back to, they would be back because they raised the money, just like Anchorage, just like Fairbanks. The president said, unless we're in a league, we're not doing it. And this is after they raised the money.
Oh,
But but again, between COVID and the WCHA teams that left the WCHA, they didn't want to play. They didn't want to go to Anchorage and Fairbanks and Huntsville anymore. And listen, is that the only reason? No, probably not. But you ask Fairbanks and Anchorage people, they'll tell you what they think. And if you listen to their broadcasts, okay, it comes up occasionally in a tangential way, and they don't hide the fact that they're still pissed.
yeah, well, I think they're gonna be pissed at everyone. Um,
They
just
might be
because
pissed at ASU now too, by the way. I'm not going to say that they're not.
But last thing, because as I'm scrolling through you guys' schedule, I want to get back to this.
Yeah.
You do have 2 exhibitions against the national development team, which Wes and we've talked about. It's kind of like
Those
it,
are weird games.
it's basically like kissing your sister. Um, you know, should you beat them? Yeah. If you lose to them, it's not a great look, but it gives guys a chance to play. And then you have the Desert Hockey Classic against UMass, and then um, Robert Morris. And who was it?
Cornell.
Uh,
UMass is playing Cornell and ASU is playing Robert Morris.
yeah, and then you get the winner. That I was just trying to look. Somebody else is playing. I think it's Miami's playing Robert Morris.
Well, aren't they playing?
Yeah, Miami's doing a weird home and home with Robert Morris.
Right. Well, I don't think they're that far apart.
They probably aren't. It's still not as weird as the UMD home and home with Bemidji, where
You guys would know that better than I would.
Bemidji is UMD and Bemidji. They're playing October 5th, and then they're playing New Year's Eve, and that's the home and home. But Cornell and UMass, and then Robert Morris, those 3 teams.
Right.
What do you think about Arizona State and those matchups or potential matchups?
Well,
Depending.
Cornell is always danger. They're you guys know the history of Cornell. They're always a threat. They may not win national championships, but they're always a threat. UMass, I think, is going to be much better this year than people think. They have a lot of experience coming back from guys that were on the national championship team. And I think they're going to be much better than people expect. Will they be better than BU and BC? Probably not. But if there's a third team that comes out of Hockey East for the NCAA tournament, it would probably be UMass. Cornell is always big and physical and very tough to play against. They almost play like the same style as an Omaha or now a CC in terms of being big, physical, in your face teams. Robert Morris, obviously, you're the home team. You should be playing. You're going to play the team you think is the easiest to beat. Robert Morris is in their second year. The coaches are friends. The ASU coach's daughter stayed at the Robert Morris coach's house for a year while she was playing girls hockey. Whatever age level, it was 14, whatever it is. But I have loads of questions about ASU now. And that's just, first of all, because I think that the NCHC is going to be really monstrous this year. I'd almost be shocked if they didn't get 6 teams in the tournament this year. I think that when Western got the commitments from Slakinski, the goalie, not the brother who's I think is a forward. That's just because the goaltending in this league wasn't going to be hard enough to play against every night. I think legitimately Denver, North Dakota, Omaha, and CC are top 10 type teams, especially with the goaltending they have. And I mean, Denver and North Dakota speak for themselves. But if you look at the guys that have been brought in by Omaha out of the portal, and you look at the guys that are coming back for Colorado College, especially with the chip on their shoulder after, you know, I don't want to say getting screwed out of the NCAA tournament, but, you know, they were the last team out, basically. I mean, Veremiev and Laba and those guys are they're just beasts. And, you know, they have not just, by the way, the starting goalie in Mbarico, but the guy they're bringing in to back him up is a development team program player too. So if something happens to Mbarico, there's not much of a drop off. In Omaha, I love Lacosi. Ever since I saw him in the World Juniors, love him. And I think the battle between Western and St. Cloud and ASU is going to be just as intense. As much as
I guess my question, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no. Maybe I'm not answering your question to begin with. I don't know.
But so as you're talking about these goalies and whatever, you're talking about North Dakota. Which goalie at North Dakota piques your interest, because it's the same question that's at UMD. I mean,
well, no, if TJ Sechtenfelter is healthy, I've watched him enough over the last couple of years at ASU to know he can win you games.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, is he healthy? He was not 100% last year. And kind of got, especially down the stretch, Gibson Homer, the guy who's going to start this year, who was with Mbarico at the National Development Team program, kind of took the job away. So, and then so that's where that comes in. Oh,
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was just curious because I mean, obviously not watching a lot of ASU hockey.
see, and there's pressure on them this year.
Oh
They'll
no.
never say it. Um, or you know, and I look at things in a different manner than most people. Okay? If you look at the early mock drafts, okay, um, most of them have the kid who was supposed to go to Michigan State and Cullen Potter in somewhere in the 20 to 25 range going next year in the first round. That's the kind of player ASU's never had. So you have the spotlight of them joining the NCHC for their first year. You have the extra added spotlight of them having that kind of player. And so now the pressure shifts from to the coach a little bit. Like maybe you don't have to make that player a top 15 pick, but you have to make sure he doesn't slip. So whatever you do coaching wise, you have to make sure, because everyone's going to be watching, that his game doesn't slip backwards. Okay. That kind of replaces a little bit the pressure that's been on them every year to win every game. For the first time, they don't have to do that. You would watch them get into games in early January and play every game like it was an NCAA tournament game. They don't have to do that this year. Whether that changes anything on the coaches' perspective, I don't know. That's one of the things that I personally will be watching to see in my own head whether or not that changes the way the coach has done things. Yeah. They have a lot of experience coming back. They have 6 or 7 seniors and grad students coming back, including, most of what was their top line last year. Actually, all of it. And Lucas Sillinger and the Jackson brothers, who are really good players, they just can't stay on the ice. I know the players that based on the roster that I've seen, which basically is last year's roster with the people that are gone out. None of the new players are in there, right? So I feel like I'm getting poked in the eye because I've been saying on our podcast, it's a race to see who's going to get their roster out first, Western or ASU.
I'm telling you right now, you are at least closing in on the finish line, and I don't know that we've gotten out of the blocks yet. But I'm still going to say that the whole thing comes out tomorrow. They're just going to drop it because
could be.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. We got 2 freshmen on Monday, and we got 2 freshmen today, and we got nothing, and we had 3 fifth years in like May.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it. Right?
The media. I will end the show the way I started the show. The media person for Western Michigan needs to get their shit together because we are dead last in media personality or media presence on Twitter in college hockey.
Yeah, well, I don't always agree with everything that gets put out by the ASU social media team in terms of what they put out. So, and even sometimes when they put out something I like, they'll do something that's like, you ruined a good video or you ruined a good spot. Right? Today they put out a video of the football players on the ice taking, like, how they have those promotions between periods where you're shooting the puck into the net from the red line.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of the football players doing that. It was a cute little video. Now, obviously, it didn't have the little board in front of the net, but let's just say the background music that they chose to use might have been questioned, but whatever. And so I want to be like everybody else. I want to speculate with at least a roster in my hand. Who's going to play with who? Like I have an idea of who the kid Potter will probably at least start by being paired with.
Right. I mean, we want to do the same thing here. I mean,
right, exactly. And just they're on campus now. They're already there. Let's go. Classes have started. What is the problem? It's not like Northern Michigan had the coach leave in the middle of the summer, and so they're not 100% sure what their roster is going to be like yet.
I think even they have a roster out at this point.
No, I looked. They don't. I looked.
Ugh.
But,
All right. Well, I think we've kind of covered everything that we were looking to cover today.
We got through half of the conference and it only took us 2.5 hours.
That's it?
With a small hiccup of crashing in the middle.
Well, who did I miss?
We got Colorado College, Denver, Miami, and Duluth.
Okay. By the way, next year, I don't know if he can turn it around this fast in one summer, but man, love that guy at Miami. Love it. Just it's if he brings in players like he can talk, they're in good shape. Oh my God, be careful.
Well, and the real quick thing about my squad that you missed is I like the goal scoring ability that we brought in as far as freshmen
Right.
with Shagabe and Zam Plant. Goaltending again is going to be an issue, and well, because I don't know anything about those guys. We have 2 freshmen and a junior that has played 1 game against St. Cloud and gave up 5 goals. So we'll see, but I think at least we'll score a little bit more. But know nothing about the 2 freshmen and Shagabe and Plant. That should help the goal scoring. So if we win games 5-4, well, I'll take that over losing games 4-1. Especially after losing Ben Steves.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of, that kind of was unexpected. I mean, I don't think he was expected to leave, right?
Yeah.
No?
For me personally, he was probably the most likely to leave. Shit. What's this nuts?
And by the way, don't misunderstand me. I'm a big Dryden McKay fanboy. So
he's Mankato.
I called Duluth the Vampires because they never died, and it used to just drive people nuts. That you'd play them in these big tight games, and they'd figure out some way to choke you off.
Yeah,
and they still had those good goalies and Stay Skill and
Stay Skull was good
Ranta and
no, it was let's see, it went Miska, then it went Costasuo, and then it went Shepherd.
Okay. Yeah,
Shepherd was the last one.
Shepherd. Loved him. He was.
And then Stay Skull, he was good in that overtime game.
Right.
But then he ended up with testicular cancer.
Right.
And he was never the same. But Blake Biondi was the one that I was thinking that transferred out, who was supposed to be a big time scorer, and he never ended up being that.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is the one I mean, the freshmen coming in, the Shagabays and Max Plant and those and a couple of those guys, uh, even Kleber's supposed to be pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, Dominic James was supposed to be a big time player.
He was, yeah.
What the heck happened there?
I think the issue is trying to think how to phrase this without knocking the coaching staff, but
Listen,
I I
I
I
can
I
knock coaching staffs plenty, and
I
so
think what happens is the way that Sandlin coaches and the way that he has the system set up, the big time players don't have the ability to show their ability. Um, it's uh the it's kind of like a Jacques Lemaire, um,
right, okay,
er- early Minnesota Wild, where it's very defensive. We're gonna beat you 1-0, 2-1 kind of system, and so like Ethan Frank, Jason Poland, Sam Coangelo, those players would not have at Western, they would not have put up the numbers at UMD
right
that they do
at Western.
at Western in that sort of system. So I
Right.
think it's Sandy trying to he wants certain players to help his system, but they're not the right players. So you look at that championship run with Toninato and uh uh shoot uh fuck, now I'm forgetting their names.
Sorry, I
Uh
mean, he is the captain, so it's not like. But I just when they brought him in,
well,
you expected big numbers. So I just
you
you forget
do,
he's
but
there.
out of a captain, it's not necessarily the numbers, and I think that gets skewed with the pro ranks. Um, but Mike Fisher was the captain for the National Predators, but for the Bulldogs, Parker McKay, he was our captain. I think the last year they won the national championship. Um, maybe the year after. He did not put up numbers. He was not a numbers guy. He was that captain, though. He was a third line player.
Mm-hmm.
So captain doesn't necessarily mean numbers. And
No, I get that.
I also think that's maybe why Steve's left, because he realized the way that Sandlin wanted to play the system didn't fit his game. Yeah, he was the number one point getter.
And he put up the numbers.
Yeah, he was our offense, but going to a different program might help boost him. I
No, I listen. I'm on unlike the last time, I'm catching you guys in the middle, so I'm trying to catch up. Because then I also wanted to ask about is it accurate that the new building in Kalamazoo is $500 million?
No.
That can't be right. For
I
five hundred
think
million dollars, that's an NHL rink.
I want to say I know it's not triple million digits,
Okay.
but I believe it's
that was a roller coaster of a raise. Triple million
Well,
digits.
again,
hang on,
like I
hang on, hang
said,
on.
I heard somebody say 500 million, and I don't understand that.
I mean it very well. Okay, so the article from April 19th says 300.
Even that's
But
you know,
it's
that,
so it's it's an event center. Like this is not gonna be
Just a hockey.
yeah, it's hockey, basketball,
Concerts,
concerts,
Okay, that makes a little more
graduation.
sense.
um, and I think there's like practice floors. But yeah, I've seen anywhere from like 50. They keep throwing numbers out. I've seen 54 um million. I've seen multiple. I mean, this article literally says 300 million. Uh,
Well, because Mullet was about 100 million.
so it's supposed to seat, I think 6 to 8,000 were some of the numbers I saw. But
Are sure not it's not triple digit million.
shut up. We'll get hundreds of millions. Jesus Christ, Michael. I got crap falling apart. I'm sweating. I don't know what's going on. Shut up, Michael.
You have crap falling apart? That doesn't sound healthy.
I hate every part of you right now. But it's like they're like separate. It's like two arenas in one. I think in
Okay.
certain points too. Like the basketball and the hockey arena. The renderings are stupid. I mean, it's downtown. It's taking up like 2 city blocks. It like the traffic down there for this stupid thing is stupid. But yeah, so like the entire complex itself is like a $300 million project, but it's more than just an ice arena. And like the ice arena itself, from what Jason is saying in the chat, is 50 to 80 for just the ice arena portion.
I think
Okay, at least that makes
it
sense.
kind of sounds like Williams Arena at the University of Minnesota, where you have the basketball portion, but then there's on the backside, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the volleyball arena.
Right.
So it's a multi-purpose area,
Right.
just not all encompassing. And then you have Mariucci and everything, but
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that makes a little bit more sense because I'm like listening
find.
to numbers. I'm like I was just looking at a page for Ralph Engelstad. And it said that would have cost in today's dollars 180 million.
So here's another
yeah,
article
well, that
from
makes sense.
January. 320,000 square foot facility expected to host more than 230 events a year. There was a footprint picture somewhere. I can't find it now. But yeah, the ice arena was going to be one portion, like in the front part, and then like basically you're looking at the thing. Here's the ice arena. The basketball courts are like over here.
Right.
There's locker rooms and stuff around them. It's supposed to be this huge thing, and like I said, it's supposed to take up like a good
Okay.
1.5, 2 city blocks, and it's supposed to be this monstrosity in downtown that they're diverting utility lines and sewer lines, and it's such a mess at the moment. Just creating more of a pain in the ass for Kalamazoo than we already have, with half of our roads torn up.
I will I will leave that part of the discussion up to people that know better than I do. I had I'm looking forward to seeing like I said, Mullet for the first time and seeing what they've done there, because the last time I was there was I was there in 2018, I believe, or 2019, but I wasn't really involved around any of the athletic facilities. Mullet hadn't started yet. And that whole thing is supposedly drastically changed in the last 5 years. So, if I could stay awake long enough and stay sober enough, I'm hopefully I will get a good view.
Yeah, there's all
mean,
that.
At least you get 2 chances to get a view at it,
Yeah, no, like I said, looking forward to it. So,
But all right, it is almost midnight. Mike's been complaining that he's hungry and sleepy.
No,
Oh,
I've been complaining because I see Trevor's picture staring at me over your left shoulder, and it's disturbing me, and I have made Trevor well aware of that.
He's just a happy guy who loves wearing his Western jersey.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on again.
Yeah.
Hopefully the next time we do this, I won't have to come in the middle. We were doing our own show tonight. We had Rick Zombo on, and he's always a great conversation.
Yeah, no, we'll have to find some opportunities to sneak it in. Maybe when Arizona's getting ready to play, Arizona State is getting ready to play Duluth.
Yeah. There you
It
need to clarify.
It matters.
That's like calling UMD Minnesota.
I mean, really, it's the only one in the conference. You know who the hell I'm talking about, all right?
Yes, believe
it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
I promise it does not.
I'm also used to only referring to my school by the first word of the
Western?
school. Yeah.
It's a little different.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's a little different.
Are you the only school with Western? And as far as hockey goes, I think you are.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
ASU is the
maybe.
only Arizona school, school in the state of Arizona that has, but it's not the same thing. Because when you say Western, no one else, nobody's thinking Ann Arbor, nobody's thinking East
Nobody's
Lansing.
really thinking Arizona either.
Yes, they doesn't matter.
Unless it's
doesn't
Arizona
matter.
State playing Arizona, who they're gonna dog walk 16-0 again. No one
Listen,
even associates Arizona with hockey on any level anymore. Outside of the Sun Devils, because they don't even have a pro team anymore.
That's okay. That's fine. First of all, if you have been scarred, and I'm sorry, I'm now, as much as we have over the years with the people that are supposed to know what the hell the difference is between the two schools. And I refer to that 4-letter building in Bristol, Connecticut that screws this up on a regular basis.
Hey, I don't make ESPN money, so I'm allowed to not make ESPN mistakes.
Well, again,
And they fired Sam Ponder, for God's sake. What the hell is wrong with them?
As so they could pay Pat McAfee more money to keep him off a rock.
And the other guy,
Yeah, you saw my tweet.
Idiot. That
and RG3,
McAfee, and the other blowhard.
I enjoy it.
Greenberg is the one that they hired.
No, I'm talking about the guy who goes with them, who when you say his name has his middle initial in there, who's an absolute blowhard and knows nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It starts with an S.
I won't lie. I enjoy Pat McAfee and all the shenanigans that he is a part of. I have to take
on
a break
Raw,
from him every once in a while. I have to take a break from him every once in a while on ESPN, but there are times where he hits a mark and I fall for it. And
he's supposed to be an entertainer. And while I understand they're all entertainers, no one's passing them off. No one's passing Pat McAfee off as a serious journalist.
He doesn't even pass himself off as a
exactly.
No,
the other guy with the S's and the A's in his name tries to pass himself off as a
ASS.
journalist. I would agree with that.
I believe he is. Well, I don't know. Actually, I'm not gonna say.
And how many people have they fired to pay him?
Because I think he was. Didn't he actually go to school for journalism?
He did.
Yeah. Well,
but how dare you? Regardless, how dare you fire the most successful ponder in that family?
Listen, if I knew those questions, I wouldn't do this from my basement.
Well, that makes two of us.
On Tuesday evenings,
three of us
at 9:00 Eastern, and go until midnight Eastern.
Three of us, because I technically, I'm in the basement.
And this is the second one I'm doing.
Yeah, today. So
all right,
today. Have a nice day, guys.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for joining us.
If you want to go through your list of podcasts that you're on, because I don't remember them all, because you.
Well, it's just basically Um, just look up
Titties and beer and
IDHSW podcasts. I do 3 of them. Sunday we do it live because we do them Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday nights. The time doesn't necessarily stay the same every week, but you know, um, we're not expecting people to listen a lot live. We expect people to listen on the downloads. So
Yeah, we don't expect anyone live either. That's why it's Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, and hopefully they'll catch the replay on YouTube.
yeah,
we just don't expect anyone, period.
Keep your expectations low, and you can only exceed them. All right.
you trying?
But oh shit, I had something. I don't know what it was. Nope, it's gone.
You guys have a swear job? A swear jar?
No.
Oh, all right, I'm just asking. I don't know.
We couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I can't afford a swear jar.
Yeah, just asking. I don't know.
Wes, why do you look like you're like 80
He's
years
trying to
old?
figure it out.
I know.
No, I'm trying to read and think at the same time, and neither one's working.
I try not to do that.
Um,
I'm surprised you could do one.
Shut up.
That thinking thing is hard.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, you do podcast Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We go Tuesday, and yet somehow we still miss all of the big news because it always comes out fucking Wednesday morning.
Freaking Wednesday.
So we're still missing all the shit, and just pay attention to Twitter on Wednesdays, and you'll figure out everything that we should have talked about or tried to talk about, and then we're proven wrong as soon as we woke up. So
Yeah, and we can get. And there are things that don't even involve the NCHC that we try to talk about at least once a week. So
that's too much. The NCHC is almost getting too big. I'm gonna have to reduce this down to just being a Minnesota, Duluth, Western Michigan podcast because I can't keep up with all this nonsense. It's too many games to watch.
Yeah, well, that's the. I mean, you almost want the conference season to get here, so it limits the amount of games you have to watch.
Yeah, 5 or 10 a weekend is a lot more than manageable than 20.
Oh God!
All right. Well, until the next one, hopefully it'll be next week. Stuff could come up. I don't know. Stay tuned to Twitter. Stay tuned to YouTube. There's some stuff that's been scrolling. There's some names on the thing. Somehow your information was still there from the last time you were a guest, so that's nice.
Nice.
Yep, that's the end. We're gone.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.